At approximately 8 o'clock on the morning of December 7th, 1941, I was leaving the breakfast table when the ship's siren for air defense sounded. Having no anti-aircraft battle station, I paid little attention to it. Suddenly I heard an explosion. I ran to the port door leading to the quarterdeck and saw a bomb strike the barge of some sort of alongside the Nevada, or in that vicinity. The Marine color guard came in at this point saying we were being attacked. I could distinctly hear machine gun fire. I believe at this point our anti-aircraft battery opened up. This was said by Marine Corporal E.C. Nightingale. The strong and powerful super dreadnought battleship, the USS Arizona, was at the time one of the few most powerful battleships when it was first launched on June 19, 1915. What made this ship so special were its four 14-foot main guns. These were set in triple-gun turrets backed by 22 5-inch guns. The ship also contained an anti-aircraft defense setup which included four 3-inch guns. Lastly, the USS Arizona contained torpedo armament of two 21-inch tubes. All of these guns required ammunition, and it was all stored together. The Arizona was finally ready to be used for its purpose. It was first assigned to watch over the Atlantic near the shoreline as German U-boats were a major problem at the time. They were caught attacking many ships around the area. Later, it had gone to Europe and traveled along the coasts, assisting in battles and in supplying help to who needed it. After it had done its jobs, it was sent to New York for modernization. It had been using old, worn-out technology, including weapons that needed to be updated as well as replaced, so that it would have a good ability to carry out combat and protection when it needed. It received a new superstructure, additional and stronger horizontal armor for protection against air attack, torpedo bulges added, and the previous torpedo tubes removed, new tripod masts that replaced the cage masts, and the ship was also fitted with multiple new replacement guns that were traded out with the previous small ones that weren't as effective. It had also received new boilers and turbines. The Arizona was later released after the modernization had been done and was sent to run naval exercises with the Oklahoma and Nevada to prepare the fleet in case of war. Shortly before 8 a.m., a low whine was heard and it was growing louder. Suddenly, a single plane came in low at about 100 feet above the ship. Its machine guns opened fire onto the ship and the men on the ship scattered to their battle stations. At about 8 a.m., the air raid siren went off. The sailors looked at the plane and saw a red circle on the wing, meaning it was the symbol of the rising sun, distinct to Japanese planes. A line of bombers now approached the harbor, heading where the ships were in Battleship Row. The battleships were lined up in a tight row along Ford Island. Japanese torpedo planes also flew in and caused harsh damage to the ships. The bombers released their loads onto the ships and caused heavy damage. A soldier in the situation said, "We stood around awaiting orders of some kind. General quarters sounded and I started for my battle station in secondary. As I passed through the casement 9, I noted the gun was manned and being trained out. The men seemed extremely calm and collected. I reached the boat deck and our anti-aircraft guns were in full action, firing very rapidly. I was about 3/4 of the way to the platform on the mast when it seemed as though a bomb struck our quarterdeck. I could hear shrapnel or fragments whistling past me. As soon as I reached the first platform, I saw Second Lieutenant Simonson laying on his back with blood on his shirt front. I bent over him and, taking by the shoulders, asked if there was anything I could do. He was dead, or so nearly that speech was impossible. Seeing there was nothing I could do for the lieutenant, I continued to my battle station. The Arizona came under attack very quickly. It was hit by 3 bombs and then missed by 3 more. At about 8:10, a 4th bomb hit the Arizona. This one would prove detrimental.
The bomb hit right after number 2 turret here, and it went right into 1,000,000 pounds of ammunition. It exploded.
The bow of the ship came up about 30 feet out of the water and settled straight back.
Blew the whole damn bow of the ship off.
And the fireball went about 500 or 600 feet in the air and just engulfed us up there where we were at. no place to go.
The fourth bomb that hit the Arizona was an 800-kilogram bomb that hit just forward of the turret number 2 on the right side of the ship. This bomb ricocheted off the faceplate of the turret and ripped through the deck. It landed in the ammunition room near the magazines where the ship's gunpowder was kept. The bomb exploded and along with it the magazines. The explosion ripped the ship apart, creating a large void that caused a large collapse of guns and other objects in the ship. The explosion also lifted the Arizona straight out of the water. It caused fires that lasted for 2 or 3 days and sank the Arizona. The blast killed 1,177 of the 1,400 men on board the ship, both by the explosion and fire, or also by causing the men to be trapped by the ship sinking so quickly. The attack had come on very quickly, starting at 8 a.m. and was over with by 10 a.m. The Arizona was deemed unable to be recovered and was left to stay in its resting place at the bottom of the harbor. Efforts were made to try to recover bodies, but it was still not sensible. Certain parts of the ship were taken for scrap, and some of the parts were salvaged for reuse, such as some of the turrets. The attack of Pearl Harbor and the sinking of these ships became a large motivation and a large inspiration for men and the country to enter the war. The ship was made in a memorial on May 30th, 1962, with a structure built over top so the remnants of the ship could be observed. Ceremonies were held in honor of the terrible event and for the men lost during the assault, and a visitor center was opened on shore.